Hello, it's Lee Montgomery of SceneDaily.com bringing you this week's edition of Fantasy Racing and the WIX Filters Pick 3 Fantasy Stock Car Racing game. You know, fantasy sports is all about scoring the most points as possible every week, and that's why this week we're going to do something a little different here on Scene Daily. We're going to talk about the NASCAR driver rating. I'm going to use that for the basis for my picks this week. Maybe I should have used it last week when I struggled a little bit. David Reagan let me down big time, blew an engine. Of course, if you had him or Matt Kenseth, then you were in trouble last week because of both had engine failures, as Roush Fenway had some problems out there. Some of the other picks weren't that great either, but hey, we're on to this week. For Tier 1 in Atlanta, we're going to go with Jimmie Johnson, and we could say that every week. But according to NASCAR's driver rating, it's all about driver rating this week. It's all about numbers. And in their categories, they base this rating off of several different ones, and I couldn't tell you how the thing works. It's probably a lot like quarterback rating in the NFL. Who knows how it works, but the higher the number, the better the rating. So for Jimmie Johnson, the last 8 races in Atlanta, his driver rating is 112.9. Again, who knows what that number means, but that's the highest one of all of them, so we're going to go with him. And his best rating for one race has been 143.2, which I'm told by the good folks at NASCAR is quite a bit. So go with Jimmie Johnson for Tier 1. Other guys you may want to try are Carl Edwards, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., believe it or not, has a high rating at Atlanta. A guy to stay away from, Kevin Harvick. Even though he's been solid at most places, he's only 17th in driver rating in Atlanta, and his numbers can tell you that even though he won there, his first race ever, that thrilling victory that he scored over Jeff Gordon not long after Dale Earnhardt died a few years ago. Tier 2, I'm going to go with Kurt Busch. He's 10th overall in driver rating. That's highest among the Tier 2 guys. That rating is 24 points below Johnson, but he's still the best in Tier 2, so we're going to go with him. Others you might want to consider for Tier 2, Martin Truex Jr., and Mark Martin. Again, Mark Martin is with Hendrick Motorsports. That's an upgrade from where he's been in the past, so you could look for him to be even better at Atlanta. Stay away from David Reagan. I should have used that lesson last week at Vegas, but I didn't. Anyway, Reagan is only 36th rather in driver rating in Atlanta, even though he's a hometown boy, and he could run well there. He has it in the past. For Tier 3, going to go with a wild card. And here's where I had a problem with driver rating this week. The numbers tells you to go with Elliott Sadler. My gut tells me to go with Bobby Labonte, who's lower than Sadler in the driver rating in Atlanta, but has been running well of late, ran terrific in Vegas. So if you want to pick one of those two guys, that'd be a good choice. I'm going to go with Sadler just simply because of the numbers. Other guys you may want to consider is Reed Sorensen has run fairly well at Atlanta. Stay away from Travis Kvapil, 50th in driver rating in Atlanta. Even though he's with a solid team and has sponsorship for Atlanta, he's probably not going to run well. And this week for the WIX Lap Leader Award, broken record, Kyle Busch. I'm going to say he's going to lead 67 laps. He won the award last weekend at Vegas, and he'll probably do it again. So anyway, that's all my picks again. Jimmie Johnson for Tier 1, Kurt Busch for Tier 2, and Elliott Sadler for Tier 3. Stay tuned to Scene Daily for more of the best in fantasy racing. Thanks for listening.